Let's look at doing some cleanup drawings today. And let's start with a simplistic character that is pretty easy to draw. And we'll just make a generic guy here. I'll start with this circle here. Let's do a 3/4 view. And then bisect the head like this. So here's an eye on this side and an eye on this side. We'll try to keep this distance the same for both eyes. And I'll put one eye looking this way and the other eye here. Under like that. And then we'll make a little bridge of the nose. It comes down like this. The side of the head, and then where his cheek would be, like this, comes down. Have that ear sticking out a little bit. So we'd see a little bit of the ear on this side as well. So his jaw goes here. And his mouth. Little smile. Lower lip. Back of the head, I would come here and go up a little higher than the circle that we started with. And it joins in there at the cheek line. Maybe we should bring this eyeball here instead. So there's the top of his head. Bring his eyebrows here. And let's just say he's got some hair like this. And then there's a little thing of, well, let's bring his hair just down close to his head. Yeah, let's just say that he's got close shaved hair. And then there's some from where to shave there. Chuck Harvey told me if you do a head, always do the shoulders. I did some assistant work cleanup on some of his drawings years and years ago. And I remember writing to Dan Haskett saying, how do you do this? And he sent me back in the mail pages of how to do animation cleanup. So I don't have the pages anymore, so I'm doing this from memory. Usually what happened was that the animator started with a black pencil drawing, and you as the assistant then had to go over it in blue to start the cleanup process, and then do your cleanup on top of that. I don't have a really good eraser here to do the rubbing down. Let's see if this old kneaded eraser will work. That's pretty good. So what you're doing is you're what they call rubbing it down, getting rid of some of the very strong blue. Then we take let's say a 2B pencil. Doesn't have to be a 2B, could be softer than that. I've got a Blackwing there, so I could use that. And here's a 4B. Okay. So let's start with the 2B, and I would come a little bit like this on this side of the head, and I would start with keeping the lines a little bit light as you search out the volume. People that did this for a living back in the 70s and 80s were so good at it. There is such an art to this. And this eye is wider because it's towards us. That doesn't look quite right. Let's erase that. Come back, and we want it a little bit rounder on the edge like that. Let's take out that eyebrow top. You can use your kneaded eraser for that. It's cleaner. Now let's start here and go back. And let's do this top piece of hair. Yeah, let's put in his eyeball so he doesn't look like a zombie. And we'll put in a line for the nose here. Now let's say he's wearing a shirt that comes around like this, goes up, and then the sleeve out like that. And it describes around like that. So I may have mentioned I don't like this paper too much. You can actually feel the bumps in the paper as you draw. I prefer a smoother paper. So there's our basic, and now let's try a 4B to get some of the outlines nice and strong here. Oh, that's an HB. How did I get that? Here we go. Here's the 4B. And it comes around like that. And then under here. Yeah, so the lines underneath make it a little bit heavier. A little bit of highlight on the corner of the eyeball like that. Then we can go back into this eyebrow. Make the lines a little bit stronger. So there's a basic lesson in doing quick animation cleanup. One of the things I learned, actually watched, my friend Leonard would do these cleanup drawings, and as he drew, he would put down his line and he would do something like this and press down harder and then come up like that, and it would taper at the end. Then you might go back in and make it a little bit thicker in some spots, a little thinner here, and come down like that. And his line would be so dark, and I would pick up the paper and the line would actually have some reflection on it. And I had never seen that technique before. It's mostly an animation thing, not comic books. Comic books rely on ink. Animation is all pencil and paper. Here's my other pencils that I just had, which are not here. Okay, here's a 9B. So with a pencil like this, you don't need too much pressure to get a dark line. And then with this 4B pencil, so you see a little bit of the reflection from the 4B, not so much from the 9B. This one's an 8B. You hardly need any pressure at all to make a nice dark line with that. And then this one says it's a 4B. Let's see how those do. Yeah, some reflections on those also. But that one really dark one, the 9B, didn't. Yeah, it makes a flat line. And this is a Kimberly 9XXB, General Pencil Company. Whereas this one is the Faber-Castell 4B. And then this one is the Sketching Pencil Artist Loft. Got this at Michael's Art Supply. Anyway, there's our short lesson on animation cleanup. And until next time, keep drawing.